This is a Thai restaurant in Thermopolis, Wyoming, a town with a population of 3,000 people as of 2024. And this Thai restaurant is one of 7,000 in the United States alone. And chances are you also have a Thai restaurant in the town or village that you're watching this video from. And I would be willing to bet that if you do, chances are that they are serving this dish, Pad Thai. But what if I told you that this story isn't actually about noodles, but rather it is a story of how Thailand became, well, Thai. Okay, so our story actually starts in the year 1942, when the Chao Phraya River Basin flooded the rice fields and ruined the harvests that year, causing famine in the middle of World War II. The main character of our story is this man, Prime Minister Phibunsongkhram, simply known as Phibun. Born into a durian farming family in Nonthaburi, Phibun excelled in the military to the point where he was sent to France in the 1920s for advanced military training. And that is where he came to idolize this man, Benito Mussolini, and his non-comrade, Adolf. But we'll come back to why this point matters later in our story. Upon returning to Thailand, Phibun and some of his friends staged a successful coup, one of many that the country and its people experienced over the last 80 years. Phibun then became defense minister in 1934 and eventually prime minister in 1938. Except if you went back to that year, chances are you would not recognize Thailand. And that's not just because it had a different name back then, it was called Siam, but it had a different national anthem and people dressed completely differently. And Phibun came in and completely decided to change all of that and make it Thai. But why? Why did Phibun feel the need to change his entire home country of Siam? For that answer, we need to go back to the year 1767, when this magnificent capital named Ayutthaya was completely destroyed by the Burmese until this man, Zheng Zhao, better known to the Thai people as King Taksin, quelled the rebellion and set up a new capital just across the river from Bangkok, the city of Thonburi. But it's his given name that is the most important part of our story. Zheng Zhao, a Chinese name, because his father was a tax collector for the Qing dynasty. And more importantly, he's from the Techao region of Guangdong, China. You see, if you take a look at some of the most powerful and influential people in Thailand today, you'll notice that many of them are Thai of Chinese descent. The current Prime Minister, for example, Anutin Charnvirakul, Thai Chinese. Thaksin Shinawatra, the head of the entire Shinawatra clan, Thai Chinese. You get the point. It all started with King Taksin himself, who was half Techao from his father's side. So when he needed to rally troops and support to fight the Burmese, guess where he turned to? The Techao people. This was part of the waves of migration that kicked off the Chinese diaspora into Thailand. Because once Taksin won the war as a general and became king, he kept many of the Techao people and even created a royal commission of merchants to trade rice with the eastern coast of Guangdong for the purpose of enriching the royal treasury itself. It was that personal to him. When a new capital was built in Bangkok, there was an 1828 consensus which concluded that 360,000 out of the 400,000 people in the new capital were of Chinese descendants. The people living in the country's capital were 90% not from the country that they were supposed to govern. Remember, at this time, Siam just got out of a war. Its capital was destroyed and it needed revenue. And in the 1900s, the Siamese government relied heavily on the Techao Chinese upper class for ideas and implementations, like the tax farming system, which auctioned off the ability to tax a region on a specific good to the highest bidder. By 1902, the ability to tax opium generated 20% of the entire Siam government's revenue alone, which is an insane number, and naturally led to a lot of dependence and resentment on the primarily Chinese opium merchants. This all accumulated in 1914, when the new king, Rama VI, penned an essay that essentially declared the Chinese in Siam the Jew of the Orient. I didn't write that, okay? Just so we're clear. He did. But this is the part of the story where we go back to this dish, pad thai, and our main character of the story, Phibun. Remember earlier in our video when we said Phibun was influenced by Benito Mussolini and what was going on with the Jews in Germany? Well, it didn't take much for him to connect that back to the Chinese in his homeland. But instead of creating a deeper divide, Phibun instead chose a new path when he became prime minister. A path of creating a new Thai culture, a release valve for all the ethnic tension that was boiling up, a new name for the country, its people, a new national anthem, and a national dish to unify it all. Pad Thai. This is delicious, but honestly, this dish isn't really Thai. In fact, arguably none of the ingredients themselves are Thai. Tamarind, now long considered a Thai ingredient, was actually first brought over by the Indian and Arab traders from North Africa. Peanuts from Latin America, the noodles and cooking method from China. You get the point. But after the flooding in 1942, rice was hard to come by, which brought an opportunity for people to convert over to Noodology, the practice of eating noodles for all meals of the day. Anyways, the Phibun government first standardized the recipe, making roughly every pad thai dish in the nation taste the same. This made it so that it had the same taste whether you were in Chiang Mai or in Phuket. Then they rolled out food carts to entrepreneurs for free, and a certain area or territory was theirs. Buying pad thai was now not just abundantly simple to do because there was a cart on every corner, but it was also considered buying Thai, and more importantly, not buying Chinese. In short, Thailand used this noodle dish, one that it created out of thin air with ingredients not from its homeland, then combined it with beautiful beaches and a land of smiles to convince millions of tourists a year to come back and visit and try this bowl of noodles. Prior to the Global Thai program in 2002, there were only 5,500 Thai restaurants worldwide. Since then, the number has tripled to over 17,000, including one in Thermopolis, Wyoming. Thank you so much for watching this first video, guys. This has been a long time coming, and hopefully you learned something today. If you want to follow me on this noodle journey, no matter where it goes, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. And you can also follow along on Instagram at thenoodleshop.pod. We will start sending out invites for our first round of guests next week, so we're really excited for that, and hopefully we'll get the first episode of the podcast out within the next month or two. See you guys at the next bowl.